Hey Mancavians, this is Bob from the Bob's N-Scale Man Cave, and today is part 8 of how to install the turntable and roundhouse. In this episode, I'll put all the pieces together before I do a final assembly on the roundhouse. Putting in the windows, into the wall pieces, mounting all the bracing in between the stalls, and there's so much stuff to do. I may even have to paint some things, but you know, this takes a lot longer than I thought it would. But there's probably going to be one more episode in this series, part 9, where I do a final assembly and hook up all the lights, and we'll show you that. So let's get started right now. Okay, I'll put this in here. I'm going to put them right in here. But since I painted these, I need to make the pins smaller or the holes larger. So I'll take this. Okay, what you need to do is find a needle. This is sort of like a upholstery needle, big enough for the wire to fit through, and just thread it through, something about that big, and just kind of fold it over, and we're going to drop it down into the hole and slide it all the way down in there. Pull the wire through from underneath. This is the easiest way by far to do this. Yeah, it's going to get tangled up. It is a really long wire, about 3 feet long. So get it all the way wired in there, and then grab your glue and put it into all the holes for where the pins are going to push into. And I sped this up a little bit, but it takes, you know, rather quick to fill in all the holes with some glue. Next, you just pull your wires down into the holes and start putting the beams into the mounting holes. I usually have to work from one end and kind of work your way all the way down, and make sure it's even. You may have to put some extra weight on top of there or press it down, and route your wiring for your lights down into the holes. I wrapped it around the beam on this one because I drilled the hole in the wrong place and actually put the light on the wrong post. I needed to put it somewhere else. And here you can see all the beams sets going in, and sometimes with brace, and there's a spike on top of some of them to hold it down so that it would glue in place. And then you take and glue in your sidewalls. Now here's a mistake. I did not put the windows in first in this piece. I was so excited about putting these things in that I forgot to put in the windows. But I want to show you how to glue it on and hold it up. I put a spike there, something heavy on the inside, put something on the outside as well to keep it nice and level. I'm actually going to move the spike to the outside because it's a little bit heavier and a little bit flatter side right there. And then I just found something else I can put in there, which is a tape measure. Yeah. Make sure you don't scratch it all up if you can. Now here we are I'm going to put all the windows into the side walls. Got to cut out all those pieces, all the windowsills. This time number 15 and number 17, number 16, and so forth. Cut them all out, get all your pieces organized. Also cut out your windows, and usually I take a flush cutter. Basically I used a Xeron cutter, track cutter, and just get right up next to the part you're trying to cut off and just snip it. And it goes rather quickly. Now you're going to have some little nubs on the edge there where you cut it off. You can take a razor knife and trim it down. You can see them right there. If it doesn't cut flush, you got to make them flush because it may not fit in the hole properly, especially in these because it sinks down inside the cavity when you glue it in. And then when you put them in, the top part has that's a bar. That means that's the upper side because that's a transom, and that goes on top. Now, when you're ready to glue, use your tester's liquid cement. I glue in all the corners because you can go left and right a little bit, and you just need to hold down the corners for your windowsills. Just drop it in there, press it in place, making sure your transom's on top, and move on to the next one. I'm going to paint some green coloring on the door because I'm waiting for the windows to dry a little bit. So you can paint your door or whatever you want to paint, whatever color you want, do whatever weathering you want to do on this. You can paint it before you glue it in or after. And you use a fine brush. I mean, it's N scale, it's going to be a little difficult, but I'm even using a lighted magnifying glass that I have to get the really detailed areas. I'm not very good at this, but it's hard to do when it's N scale, Get all those little fine details in there. Now I got a green door. Who knows, maybe later I'll paint the rest of it something else. Maybe not. Now on the windows, when you bend those and break those off, because you can't use a sprue cutter or anything like that to cut it, just wiggle them back and forth and then take the razor knife and trim off that rough edge. Now when I glue these in, I'm putting all the rough edges toward the back of the roundhouse so that when you look in through the front door you really can't see that edge. And then you glue the corners of each window. And usually it's a good idea to put the nice side out, or at least the nice flat edge up against the wall or the windowsill when you glue it down, because it'll lay a lot flatter, especially if you have any bumps or stuff like that that keep it up. So make sure everything's flush and not raised up. Get it nice and centered, and it'll kind of look more natural that way. Press it down for a few minutes and on to your next one. Now that they're all done, now there's these brown little things that I glued on there. I didn't show that step, but they're like little angled things to put on top of each area. Now I've got a problem. I've got 3 different colors of back walls. I had 3 different kinds of sets. They were bought at different times. Got molded in different colors depending on the batch. So I need to figure out what color I want to paint them all. So I'm going to have to paint them. And they were, 2 of them were kind of flip-flopped. You had red on one side and brown on the other, and the other side was just the opposite. So if I put them all in, it'd be I'd have 3 different colors on the outside. So I'm going to go with a light brown right here. Same color I used on the beams that I used on the inside of the roundhouse. So it's going to kind of look like a brick wall. You can put a, you know, whatever weathering you want to do on it, and that way I'll have consistent looking walls on the outside. And now I can start putting in the windows once it's dried. Same process, but on the nubs I took some sandpaper because I had so many of these to do, and it is 60 grit paper, but you probably want to use something a lot finer like 100, 150. But either way, it'll fit inside, no problem. Glue them down, just like you did the other windows. Put glue on the corners, and you can quickly put in the windows on here. There is a transom also on these windowsills, so make sure you put it up and orientate your walls. Those little tiny notches, raised notches on one end of it, on the corners, that's the top of the wall. So everything is oriented right. And one time I was cleaning off all the glass to make sure there wasn't any fingerprints and stuff like that on there. It's like, you know, yeah, doesn't really need it, but as long as you keep them cleaned off of any residue or shavings that you did while trimming it, that's good. Now this piece here, they got 2 little nubs on it and a third right in the middle. That is going to go down, and those 2 nubs on the back will fit right inside the doorway that the trains come into the roundhouse. And so that piece there is going to be a stop for the doors. And you just drop some glue in there and slide the piece on there and press and hold. Make sure the pins are in the holes and it's in the right spot, if that is right. Now, there's also some glass you can put on there as well. Yeah, I glued each end and just lay the glass down in place when you're done. It's a good practice not to use a lot of glue when you do this, so you don't get a lot of strings and, you know, extra stuff. Now these other windows, they go near the roof and they go across each brace area, and there's also some barn doors for the front, and there's a left and a right, so don't mix them up, and trim off all the excess and put the windows on and you're ready to start assembly.
Well, there you go, Mancavians. That was part 8 of how to install the roundhouse. I showed you how I painted all the wall pieces that go on the back because they're all different colors. I installed all the bracing into the roundhouse and put all the windows in, all the little pieces on the door trim, and I haven't put the doors on and stuff like that. That's part of the final assembly. But this is all preparation work before you get ready to start gluing things down. Besides the sidewalls and the bracing, that's the only thing that I have glued. I have all the windows and everything else glued in place. So I'm about ready to start installing the whole thing and making this roundhouse look complete and getting all the lights powered up. That would be great. So stay tuned for part 9. On a side note, I will be not putting out any videos on my channel for the next 3 weeks in the month of January because I will be out of town and won't be around the man cave to do anything. So sorry, just gotta wait a little bit longer. Have fun. So if you like what you saw here today, go ahead and click subscribe down here below, or follow my Facebook, Google+, Twitter, and my Instagram, links down here below in the comments. Also, click on one of my other links for videos as well. As always, Mancavians, happy model railroading, stay off the tracks.